Skill 17, two little dichotomies, who, whom, and that, which. Okay. This usually is like 1 to 3 questions per test, so it's not a huge topic, but it's something to know. And a lot of times, if you don't know, especially with who, whom, students miss these all the time. So you just kind of have to know the rule, even though it's not, you're not going to see more than one question on it. So whom is one of those words you don't hear very often in real life. Okay. It sounds pretentious and unnatural, and we don't really use it, but they ask about it. Okay. Who is a subject pronoun? That's the important idea here. It replaces words like I and he, right? Because I is a subject. I walk to the store. He buys apples, right? Whom is an object pronoun and replaces words like me and him. The present is for him, right? It's not, the him there isn't the subject. The him is the object of the person giving the present, right? That person said something to me, right? To me, for him. If it comes after a preposition like to or for, it's almost definitely an object, and you would use whom in that case. Okay, so you can make that substitution. So it's just called the he him test. If you could put in a he, you would probably use who. If you put in a him, you would probably use whom. All right. Who is at the door? Notice that he is at the door would work. So if you could replace it with he, or answer the question with he is, then who is correct, right? You can't say him is at the door. A policeman, for whom is he looking, right? For whom. So first of all, that's one indication. That's a preposition, and if it follows a preposition, then it's probably whom. He's looking for me, right? It's an object. They aren't the subject. The policeman is doing the looking. They are looking for someone, and therefore it's whom. Okay, so they are receiving the action. So just the quick and dirty idea here is, if you can replace the who whom word with him or her, then use whom. Otherwise, use who. In ordinary discussion, that and which can be used interchangeably. Okay, but you can't on the ACT. All right, that contains essential information, doesn't follow a comma, we talked about that already, and restricts the subject, and we'll show you what that means. Which, on the other hand, gives additional information that is set off with commas and provides extra context about the subject. So this is probably the part you need to remember most of the time, is that it is set off with commas, because that's usually what they're going to be asking about. So let's look at an example. Lions that live in Africa eat gazelles. So this is restricting the subject. We're only talking about lions that live in Africa. We're not talking about all lions, all right? Versus lions, which live in Africa, eat gazelles. So now we are not restricting the subject. We're just saying something extra about lions. Oh, lions, which live in Africa. Okay, they eat gazelles. So there you can see that the comma comes before and after, but the most important comma is the comma before the which always has to be there for which, but really is never there for that. So again, the first sentence is making a sentence specifically about the lions that live in Africa. If they live in a zoo in America, they don't eat gazelles, right? That's what you can assume. Lions that live in Africa eat gazelles, not the other ones, right? So that's what I mean by it restricts the subject. And the second sentence presents gazelle eating as a general property of all lions, and gives us the additional information that lions live in Africa. The phrase "which live in Africa" could be removed without changing the meaning, and that's especially why you need commas there. So again, this is probably somewhere between 1 and 3 questions per test, but they can be hard. So you do have to know it. And hey, 1 to 3 questions is potentially 1 to 3 points on your English section. So you got to know all this stuff. But now you do, and there'll be some more practice for you.